Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're jumping into a topic that's making a huge leap, right from the pages of sci-fi novels and straight into the world of economics. We're talking about the technological singularity. We're going to break down what it is and get this, why the financial markets might already be placing their bets on it.
So, let's start with a big question. Just imagine, for a second, a point in time where progress isn't just moving fast. It's moving so unbelievably fast that we can't even begin to guess what's next, let alone control it. That one powerful idea is really the launchpad for everything we're about to talk about.
Okay, so what exactly are we talking about here? This term, the technological singularity, was actually kicked around by mathematician John von Neumann, and then really brought into the mainstream by the futurist Ray Kurzweil. It describes this theoretical tipping point, that moment when the things we've created start to evolve so rapidly on their own that they just completely and unpredictably rewrite the rules for human society. Now, the engine behind all this is something called the law of accelerating returns. It's the reason why it feels like everything is speeding up all the time. See, progress doesn't just move in a straight, steady line. It's more like a snowball rolling down a massive hill. Every new invention, every breakthrough makes the next one happen even faster, creating this insane feedback loop of progress begetting more progress.
And listen, this isn't just some abstract idea. This acceleration is happening right now, fueled by some incredibly powerful technologies that are all starting to merge together. So let's take a look at the 5 key engines that are really pushing us into this totally new era.
So we've got gene editing, literally rewriting the source code of life. We have artificial intelligence, which is turning pretty much every industry on its head. Regenerative medicine, which holds the promise of reversing aging. Synthetic biology, where we're creating new biological parts from scratch. And finally, brain-computer interfaces, which are literally merging our minds with machines. Now, any one of these is a game changer. But what happens when they all start talking to each other and feeding off each other's progress? That's where the truly explosive change comes from.
Let's just take gene editing for a second. We've got these incredible tools like CRISPR. You can think of them as tiny, programmable molecular scissors that can go into our DNA and make precise cuts and edits. And this is not science fiction, folks. In 2023, the FDA gave the green light to the very first CRISPR-based treatment for sickle cell anemia. That's a huge milestone.
And if you want to see that exponential acceleration we were talking about, here it is. The original Human Genome Project, it took more than a decade and cost billions of dollars. Fast forward to 2022, and we could do the same thing in about 5 hours. 5 hours. That's the law of accelerating returns in the real world, and it is absolutely stunning.
And then we have this direct link up between our brains and our tech. Brain-computer interfaces, or BCIs, are forging a literal connection between the human mind and a computer. We are already seeing patients who are paralyzed, able to control a cursor on a screen or move a robotic arm using nothing but the power of their thoughts. It's just wild. So, with all these almost godlike tools becoming a reality, you have to ask the big question, where is this all going? It really feels like we're standing at a fork in the road, with two very, very different futures ahead of us. A full-on techno-utopia or, well, a pretty terrifying dystopia.
On the one hand, the promise is just incredible. Imagine a world with no more hereditary diseases, where we can actually reverse the aging process and even boost our own intelligence. But, on the other hand, the dangers are just as massive. We could be looking at a future with massive job loss thanks to AI, a world where wealth is concentrated in just a few hands, and we might even face these huge questions about what it even means to be human anymore.
And that downside isn't just some vague fear. Researchers and economists are already running the numbers on this. A paper from 2024 puts it pretty bluntly. The rise of AI is going to cause a major shift in the job market, and it could lead to serious unemployment. We're talking about a massive, society-wide effort to retrain people. This fear of things going wrong brings us to a really fascinating and honestly kind of strange place, the stock market. Because what if the big investors are already pricing in a worst-case scenario? There's this wild theory that the crazy AI boom we're seeing isn't just about optimism. It might actually be about hedging for the apocalypse.
Yeah, just let that sink in for a minute. If AI really did cause some massive economic disaster for almost everyone, could somebody somewhere actually make money from it? Well, a recent paper suggests that the answer, believe it or not, might be yes.
And here's the core of that idea.
A part of the reason AI stocks are valued so high might not be because everyone's betting on a wonderful future. Instead, some of that value could be a kind of insurance premium against a really, really bad one.
The financial models actually show how this could work, and it's pretty startling. Okay, don't worry about all the numbers here. Just look at the trend. As the chance of an AI-driven disaster goes up, and as the size of that disaster gets bigger, look what happens to the valuation of the AI company stock on the right. It also goes up. The bigger the potential catastrophe for everyone else, the more valuable the hedge becomes. It's wild.
So why on earth would this happen? Well, the logic is kind of dark, but it's simple. In a world where AI takes over tons of jobs and regular people have less money to spend, the non-AI part of the economy gets smaller. But the AI companies, the ones making the chips, running the models, they actually become a much bigger, much more valuable slice of that shrinking economic pie. It's a grim take on if you can't beat them, join them. The only way to save your portfolio might be to own a piece of the very thing causing the disruption. But, and this is a huge but, there's a major catch. For the average person, this strategy doesn't really work. Why? Because the market's incomplete. You and I can't just go buy shares in the most advanced AI labs out there, like OpenAI or Anthropic. They're still private. So that perfect hedge against an AI apocalypse, it's pretty much off limits to most of us. Okay, so if we can't just buy our way out of this potential future, what's left? How do we as a whole society get ready for a transformation this big? Well, the experts are floating a few big ideas. Things like universal basic income, or UBI, which could act as a safety net if jobs become scarce. A huge focus on lifelong learning and retraining to help people adapt. We'd also need really strong ethical rules to guide how AI is built and used. And crucially, we need to focus on creating systems where humans and AI work together, instead of just having AI replace us.
At the end of the day, the goal isn't to slam on the brakes and stop progress. It's about grabbing the steering wheel. It's about consciously designing a future where these powerful new tools are used to make us better, to enhance what we can do, not to make us obsolete.
And all of this brings us right back to the biggest question of all. You know, as that line between human and machine gets blurrier and blurrier, we're forced to ask some really deep existential questions about who we are. In a world where biology and technology are fused, what does it actually mean to be human?
We are literally building the tools to reshape life, to redesign intelligence, maybe even to conquer death, powers that throughout all of human history were reserved for myths and for gods. So the real question isn't whether we can do all of this, it's whether we're ready for that kind of responsibility.